Hey everyone, this is Olay from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast.
All right. Happy Sunday. Hope y'all are doing well. Welcome to another Sunday, another session of LYS Free Student Mentoring. I am Olay, as always, Olay Shorunke, here with my good friend, founder of Laddering Your Success, Festus and Olay. How you doing today, sir?
Well, why you be saying founder? It should be the co-founder, right? You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
I mean, we've been in this thing together, man, for a minute. You know what I mean?
For sure. You know, I was looking at the hairs on my chin. I was like, got a white hairs there.
Oh, you just getting
this thing for a while.
You see these whites, bro? and the thinning up top.
Oh, hey, trust me, I know the thinning, man. The thinning has
crazy.
Has been quite the experience. Where your hair, you got that Calvin Murphy?
No, mine ain't going that bad.
No, not you. I'm talking about me.
Okay,
you got the Calvin Murphy.
Okay, I was like, he look like what's his name from the Munsters?
Oh, the grandpa, that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's good to be here today. It's good to be back. But y'all was going in, man, talking about the things that students were going through, the things that you guys as teachers were going through.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, it's huge that the gap on mental health and just wellness to kids. And I guess that's why we're here is to help kind of fill that gap a little bit. So if you're watching this, make sure you're liking it. Make sure you're sharing it, because that helps with the algorithm, of course. And if not, there's something wrong with you. No, I'm just but no, it's definitely good to be here, man. Definitely good to be here.
Oh no, absolutely. I was actually kind of worried last week, because last week, it's not the first time I've had to set everything up, which is good. You have to have contingency plans, and you have to have plans like that set in place. But I always have this feeling of whenever I have to do things like this, not necessarily things are going to go off the rails, right? But in my head, I'm like, oh man, I'm running. Oh, it could go crazy. It could go this way. It could go that way. But fortunately, I mean, it's if you really follow the heart of Ladder Your Success, that the things that we do and the things that we're doing, we follow them, right? Like we try to work with these things.
Just to throw this out there, we're talking about vocation today. Okay, so what is vocation? I mean, obviously Olay's gonna let us know what vocation is in his way of doing things, but primarily we're talking about like careers and calling today. That's what you might hear it on, like if you go on a college campus, they might call it career and calling, they might call it career services or something like that. And it's a big deal. Why is it a big deal? Because depending on your background, you may have never really got a chance to experience or got a chance to see somebody actually work. And a lot of people talk about Gen Z nowadays and millennials, even though we're technically millennials, they'd be like those millennials, and it's like, me? But they say, oh, you're lazy. It's like, well, how can a person who's never seen or done an 8-hour shift of work be lazy? You're just introducing them to the concept, right? So I think Olay is going to cover some of these things, right?
Yes.
And so while Olay's doing that, just
absolutely.
So yeah, you want to go ahead and go for it?
Absolutely, sure. I'm actually doing this live from a very special location today. Doing this live from the house of our third official. I don't want to pull them in like the Godfather 3 pull them in, but I can say one of our co-hosts, Daniel Hill. I'm actually doing this from his house because we went to church. And I was trying to find a place to set it up, and he was like, "Man, just do it in my place." I was like, "You know what? This is not the first time you've said this. I think I need to go ahead and." He's laughing. Right? I think I need to go ahead and do this. So absolutely. All right, folks. As always, if you want to get in contact with us, LYS students, _LYS on Instagram, right? On Facebook, Laddering Your Success. On YouTube, just type in Laddering Your Success. Got some really good videos. Festus has done some videos interviewing people who have been able to get money,
Dollar
thousands
bills,
of
y'all. Dollar bills.
dollar bills. You know, I was just talking to one of my co-teachers the other day
Mm-hmm.
about her daughter who is going to be a senior next year.
Mm.
And I was asking, I said, so do you have some things in line, scholarships and stuff? She's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, has she thought about testing out for some of her classes, AP, IB, that type of stuff? And she was like, she'll work hard, like she'll do what she needs to do, but she won't do like anything outside of that. And I was like, you see, these are those conversations we got to have, because it's like, she won't do extra, but when that check comes, she's not going to give it to herself. She's going to give it to you. So it's like, help me, help you, help me, help you.
Exactly. And that's where sometimes, you know, as a parent, you just have to kind of step in and intervene, right? And why? It's not so much that, oh, you know, your kid's getting in trouble or anything like that, but it's a form of protection now. You know what I'm saying? It's a form for protection. Oh, I like that. We got that Discord coming soon. I like that. So if you're on Discord, let us know. Hit us up in the chat, say, hey, I'm on Discord. That way we know, because we're thinking about going to Discord, so that way we can continue to connect and you could have access to us more than just once a week. So please let us know.
Oh, I wasn't trying to take your attention. I was just trying to move it in the background. Keep going.
Oh, okay, my bad. Because I can see it and I'm like, okay, I guess he wants to talk about Discord. Excuse me. But anyway, as a parent, there is a such thing as financial health and financial well-being. And we know this because everybody's now talking about financial literacy. What a lot of people don't know is, why are we talking about financial literacy more now than ever before? In 2016, President Obama signed what's called the Jobs Act. And the Jobs Act basically removed or lowered the bar for investment in the companies. So you used to have to be what's called an accredited investor. Now, an accredited investor is somebody who had either A, $1 million net worth, or B, made over $250,000 a year. And so as an accredited investor, you got opportunities basically brought to you that weren't brought to the general public, right? It didn't mean the general public couldn't invest in stocks or anything like that, but this is the real interesting thing, right? And you're talking about, why does this apply to my kid? Why does this apply to my kid's college, right? Or even if I'm a student, it's like, well, I gotta listen to this old man talk about old people stuff, right? The reason being is because it matters to you, right? You have to keep in mind, imagine, like, for those who can see this pencil being like you, right? While you're going through life, like, things are happening all around you constantly. So if you're not changing, if you're not growing, if you're not developing, then as things happen around you, you're not going to be able to cope with them later, right? If you're not aware of what's going on. And so that's why we're talking about this. But anyway, with that change, now you started to see a lot of these people trying to raise money online. You start seeing a whole bunch more scams, stuff with crypto, all those different types of things. And so I'm not even into crypto. I'm hoping Daniel's going to teach me. I need to take his class. As a matter of fact, he needs to just come on here and teach us all about crypto. But first, Olay's going to go into education. Not education, vocation. He works in education, but he's going to talk about vocation, which is a different kind of cation. I need a vacation. He needs a vacation. All the teachers need a vacation. But anyway, y'all go ahead, Olay. Go ahead.
Yo, if that was not the truest, oh man, that was perfect, man. Education, team vocation. Hey, I need a vacation. And everybody need a vacation. Everybody need a vacation. Which is true. We all do need a vacation, man. We do. But yes, Festus is right. That is exactly what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about vocation. Not vacation, vocation. So last week we finished up culture. We had a really, really, really wonderful talk about culture, wrapping that up, the different tenets, how it interacts in life and society. So many cool things about culture. But today we're talking about vocation. All right. So vocation is a very interesting thing. It's one of those things that we're aware of, but we kind of haven't really been able to connect the term with what it is. Like so many things that we deal with today, right? But the reason why it's an interesting subject is, first of all, It's the thing that you're going to be doing in order to support the other things that you love to do. Right?
I like that. That's a bar. Say that one more time.
Absolutely.
For
It's
the
the
people in the
thing you're
back.
going to be doing in order to support the other things you love to do. Right? So there's a quote, and Festus, you're going to know this because this is something you said your mother used to say. Work to live. Don't live to work. Work to live. Don't live to work. That's something I gotta read over for myself, right?
Yeah.
Festus, you want to talk a little bit about what exactly that means?
Yeah, my mom used to have all these little strange quotes that she would just walk around the house, yelling, and it's pidgin English sometimes, you know what I mean? So she'd be like, "You work to live, you don't live to work." And you're like, okay, what in the parable of Christ is going on here? And the concept is oftentimes we get ahead of ourselves when it comes to our work, and we either get in heavy amounts of debt or we go and overburden ourselves with the type of work that we do. So what that ends up leading to is us working in order to live, right? And meaning outside of just me getting my paycheck and putting it in my pocket, now I don't have anything left. And so my whole life just revolves around, Monday through Friday work. And then oftentimes you can see this where it's like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend. And, there's these concepts that, it's like, are we really thinking about this? And I think COVID allowed people that chance to think about it, which is, if I could do something else with my time and bring in more money, and so I could spend more time doing the things that I want to do, how can I do that? And so I think that's the way that she meant that concept to be shared.
No, absolutely, I agree, man. That was a really important thing. I mean, it also reminded me of the other quote that's kind of similar: "Eat to live, don't live to eat." That's kind of what another one.
100%, 100%.
Right? You know what I mean? So that very powerful, very powerful. So the reason why we kind of bring all these things all together is, as you can see here, we got a picture of some DNA. That DNA essentially is code, right? You got 23 chromosomes from your mom, 23 chromosomes from your dad. They come together, you have 46 chromosomes. And I am a firm believer that somewhere in here is a code, right? And well, it's obvious, yes, we know that there's a code, but there's a deeper code in there. There's a code that kind of says and has your purpose, your skills, your talents, your abilities, right? It's all within there. And one of our purposes for being on this earth is to find that purpose, to use or to find those skills, those talents, those abilities, those traits, and use those things to help us find our purpose and to fulfill our purpose before we leave the earth. And so, it's one of those, it seems complex, and it is, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty, it's right there in front of me, right? If you just take a step back and you think about all the things people have said about you, as far as the things that you seem to be really good at, those things that just come natural to you, those things are usually related to your purpose. And those things that come very natural and very easy to you are going to help you as you find your purpose and you start to fulfill your purpose. You got to think about it, folks. We got 7 going on 8 billion people. But I don't want you to think of people as people per se. I want you to think of them as purposes or destinies or things that need to be fulfilled.
You're talking spicy there.
Right?
You're talking spicy, bro. You're talking spicy.
We put in some, what we put? We making it spicy. I'm putting some sazon. We're putting some sazon on it today. But I just want you to think about that. Not just necessarily people, right? But destinies, 7, 8 billion purposes, individual purposes, right? That are born and that need to be blossomed. Just imagine if 8 billion people were working within their purpose, right? You were literally fulfilling your reason for your being here on earth. Just take a quick second, just close your eyes and think. Are you look around you, look at what you do. Are you using the skills, the talents, the abilities to do the things that to fulfill a purpose, something that's much, much more bigger than you, right? If you're not, no worries. That's what we're going to be working on, right? In these next couple of weeks. We're gonna be breaking that down. We're gonna be looking into ourselves and seeing what are these things. Because the beautiful thing that I've noticed is, how can I say this? The beautiful thing that I've noticed is it's much easier than you think it is to find those things, to find those skills. There are things that people have been saying about me for the longest that I just have not been paying attention to. Olay, you're so good at this. Festus, you're so, man, how do you do that? See, when people have that weird way of questioning you about certain things, I don't know how they're able to do this. Now, all of us are struggling. You're able to do that. How? Everyone has that thing that they do just a little bit better than everyone else, just a little bit.
Bro, you spin some bars right now.
Those are the things you got to think about. And that's what we're going to be working on here in these next couple of meetings. Right. Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. But, you know, the crazy thing is, Festus, it's like, it's very easy to get wrapped up, right? To forget about these things. Because like I said, we don't see ourselves as fulfilling a purpose, right? We see ourselves as just, we're going here, we're going there, we're doing this, we're doing that, right? But once you break it down to you know, something more substantial that you can really grab onto, you'll notice it'll start to change the way you operate. It'll change the way you travel, the way you move, right? And so that's why this is so key. And this is another thing I just realized. If someone came to me and was like, which is the single most important aspect of LYS out of the 7 chapters in the book, I'd be like, you know what? I can't answer that question. Yeah. I really can't answer that question. Because they're all important.
Because you know why? Because they all fit together.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes, you know, this is the thing, and no disrespect to E.T. I do love E.T.'s work, right? Eric Thomas. Mm-hmm. Or people similar to E.T., where they talk about be your greatest self, great. And the truth is, a lot of people are really great in one area, but they suck at almost everything else. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is, this is the thing that us as like normal people, I quote unquote normal people, we don't really understand. Like Jordan excelled in basketball, you know what I mean? But if you look at it, he's been through like 2-3 divorces and some other issues, you know what I'm saying? And again, if a person went through a divorce, you know, there's different reasons for each circumstance, right? So I'm not just trying to call out everybody who went through a divorce, mm-hmm. or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is, as a normal everyday person, would it be better to be above average at everything, right? And maybe not great at one particular thing, right? And don't get me wrong, it sounds good and it looks good to be the best in the world. And I'm Eric Thomas. I'm the number one, person in the world. And again, I'm not knocking Eric Thomas, so don't, you know what I'm saying? Because we know some people who are close to it, so we don't want to, you know what I'm saying, go that route like this dude, you know what I'm saying? But the thing, what I'm trying to say is, and Eric Thomas will say this, if you look at his personal life, where he'll be like, no, I'm not going to do this because of my kid, because of my wife, because of, right? There's other decisions being made, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That he could probably go a lot further. He could probably do a lot more, you know what I'm saying? But to me, just be above average at everything, at least when it comes to you. And this is, man, I'm going to go off on a tangent. You know how I get on this soapbox tangents. But this is the thing that bothers me. When I go into barbershops, right? I'm getting my haircut, or my barbershop anyway. I don't go to every barbershop. I go to the same barber. I've been in the same bar for 15 years. You go to a barbershop and you hear people talking about other people's lives more than they talk about their own life. That boggles my mind, that people know what Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, and they know what everybody else is doing. But if you sat down and you said, well, what are you doing? What's your vocation? What's your purpose? And they're clueless. That doesn't make any sense to me. And usually what that tells me is when a person is clueless about their purpose, but knows everybody else's purpose, that person lives because of the circumstances and the situation outside of themselves and not from within. So, man, anyway.
Beautiful point, man. Beautiful, beautiful points, man. Beautiful. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. So that leads us to our definition of vocation, right? Vocation is the thing that pulls on your heart and mind the most, period. End of discussion right there. The thing that pulls on your heart and mind the most. I'll give you a quick story. I remember we were going over Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton, right? We all know about his work with gravity and force. And I remember them talking about him as a child. As a child, this dude was just fascinated with the wind and outside. This kid would just sit out, just looking at wind, just trying to understand how it works. His life was completely dedicated to that. That was his vocation, right? That was his vocation. Think about the work that he did within his vocation. And that's what happens when you focus on the thing that pulls on your heart and mind the most. Don't worry about it, folks. We're going to talk about how to find it. We're going to talk about how to find it, right? But vocation, I can't stop saying it. The thing that pulls on your heart and mind, not the least, but the most. But the most. The reason why I have a picture of a phone here is because this is in Latin, it is translated to mean your calling or the thing that you are called to do.
Talk that talk.
It's the thing that you're called to do, right? So when you get that call, it's not going to be a phone call like, hey, you're supposed to be this. The call is more within yourself. It's more of an intrinsic feeling, right? It's something that you just know that this is my calling. And that essentially is what your vocation is, right? The thing that you are called to do, the thing that you're called to do. Now, there is another form, another type, or another way of describing, things that fall under the umbrella of vocation. You have something that's called an avocation. It's literally vocation with an A in front of it. That's all it is, right? So if a vocation is the thing that pulls on your heart and mind the most, the thing that you're called to do, an avocation is the thing that you do for money. Okay. An avocation is the thing that you do for money. Now, thing about an avocation is you may not love this thing as much or at all, right? So you may feel like this. If you notice, this dog is just kind of like, meh, right? You may not love this thing as much or at all, but guess what it does? It keeps food in your stomach. It keeps the bills paid. Okay. Avocation is interesting. It's interesting because this tends to be where we meet most of the people in our lives, right? So we're talking about people in social situations, in cooperative relationships. Remember, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, right? The different types of relationships and social relationships, right? So social, cooperative, transitional relationships.
Talk that talk.
Right? Although you spend quite a bit of time in school with friends over the years, your work usually brings you into contact with a wider variety of individuals. So you're going from just like a certain sector of people that you knew in high school, middle school, high school, even college. Well, college, it definitely goes out, right? After college and into work is when you start to meet more and more people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures, situations, right? This is super key. This is going to be a very key time, a very key moment, a very key situation or situations that occur that help you in leading you on your path to laddering your success. All right. But like I said before, this is more of those relationships. You've got to be able to know the difference between a vocation and an avocation. Okay, you got to be able to know the difference between a vocation and an avocation. All right. And so I want to stop here real quick because there's something that we got to bring into this. And this is being, knowing, doing. Note for self, we got to make sure we put that on our presentations. Being, knowing, doing, right? How do we be? What are our principles and our values? Know. What are resources and things around me that can help me? And how do you do, right? How do you execute with excellence? So let's think about that in the grand scheme of vocation, a vocation, right? If you have an understanding of your values and your principles, and remember, I'm not going to try and overcomplicate this for you. This is what we mean when we say values and principles. This is you. This is people trying to move you this way. People trying to move you this way. You're staying on the straight and narrow. That's what we mean, right? Or you see people who can elevate you or help you understand things in a way that you had never seen before, but it still helps you get to the same place and you're not changing who you are, right? Now, don't get me wrong, if you're not right, if you're not doing what you need to be doing, and there's one thing I'm learning now. Festus got to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, because I think you were about to hit the nail on the head. So go ahead. I'll go right after you.
Oh, okay. Because the thing I've noticed right now is you got a new generation of kids coming up who definitely feel like they deserve things and haven't put in the work. And so I'm gonna tell you like this. You're off your rocker, little person, if you think that you're not doing what you need to do and you still think you should get to whatever place you're trying to get to. You need to change some of those values. You need to change some of those principles. Or don't, but just hear me out. Like we say, there are consequences for every action that you make. So if you make that right and correct decision to get back where you need to get to, you're gonna start to notice some changes. People around you there may not be as many people around you. You may have a smaller circle, right? But guess what? That circle is so loyal. That circle is so honest. That circle, as the kids say, is so 100 that you don't even want any other. You don't even want to try and test to see what's out there. Because this, right, these people around you are putting you in a place where it's just so comfortable. And everything that you're doing, they're all leading you in the right decision. It's like right, correct, wise decision after another. It's like, man, this is a pattern. So, and literally life is just a set of patterns and you learning how to deal with the different patterns as they come before you, right?
And this is so clutch because, and I love the fact that you're talking about this, because one thing that we need to recognize about this generation is this generation, they only have respect for what's earned, but sometimes they haven't quite earned it themselves. And I give you an example. I go to my little cousin's, graduation, you know what I'm saying? And this dude got to be like 12, talking about, what's up, Festus? And I was like, this little Negro ain't talking to me. I was like, you better put an uncle or uncle or something in front of that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who I am. Like, bro. Anyway, but that's a whole nother aside. But this is the thing here, right? When it comes to this being, knowing, doing, that the character, values, and principles, and you really developing into who you are and who you want to be, you got to know that why, what wakes you up in the morning, what gets you going, what gets you churning. And again, like you said, those values help me stay connected with the other people who are around me, right? And right now with COVID shaking everything up, and now people are going back to work and stuff like that. And it's like, you spend time with those coworkers just because they're your coworkers. But then when you get home or with other people, you talk about your coworkers because you don't really like your coworkers, but because they're just there. You know what I mean? It's ludicrous to me.
Yeah.
Really, what we should be doing is, if we're working in our purpose and if we're working in our values, it should move me into a place or into a position where the vast majority of people I'm cool with, because we share similar values. And if we don't share similar values, because again, character is different, right? Everybody's character is different. What gets you up and what gets you churning and moving is going to be different for each person. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm not coming, let's say if my character is not being met, acquiesced to in this workplace, and the values aren't the same, then I got to make a move. And so often people sacrifice their vocation for their avocation. when it's really supposed to be the other way around. There are a million ways to make money. There's as many people as there are in the world. There's a million ways to make money. And man, if y'all missed transitions yesterday, if you're following us on social media, you're gonna see some of those tidbits coming out, because I mean, when I say we have some gems there, gems there. If there's a person who has a need, that's an opportunity to make money, right? Because if you have a servant's heart and you can meet a need, right, you can make some money. Now the question comes in, and have we done like financial yet? Because when we do financial,
no.
When we talk about financial, we're gonna get Daniel on to talk about the cryptocurrency, and then I'm gonna talk about some like mind-blowing, life-changing concepts about a financial. But the big thing is when we get in that position where it's like, okay, I'm going to seek to make money. One, if I come with a servant's heart and I'm humble and I'm disciplined and I start to learn that industry, I start to learn the principles behind the industry. Next thing you know, I'm able to maneuver those things towards my advantage, but still towards the advantage of everybody else. And why do I say that? Because right now, talking about purpose and passion and stuff is cliche, right? It's really, really cliche. You hear everybody, go follow your heart, just do what you love, and then you'll be happy, right? And the truth of the matter is that when you're following your vocation and your purpose, it becomes really, really easy to you, but it might not make you the happiest thing in the world. It's just, it's because it's just so natural to you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you take a person who's a Kobe or who's a Jordan, I bet you outside of all the hard work they put in, they were already good basketball players. They had the natural talent already, but the fact that they put in more work sent them over the moon. You know what I'm saying? And so why is that important? It's because a lot of times we don't want to go to school to study what we're already good at, right? We want to go for what's cool. And that's the big thing about like a lot of students nowadays is I want to go with my friend rather than where I need to go to get the education that I need to get for what I'm trying to do. And it ends up costing you a lot of money, right? Why? Because you don't develop the skills and the knowledge that ends up bringing that money back. Let me tell you, if they're true friends, this is one of the reasons I cut for Olay, Clemente, Lawal, all the homies, right? The reason I cut for them is at any point in my life, whether it was me going to the military or me doing, stuff in Israel and different kind of stuff like that, any of that stuff, they let me go do me, and I was able to come home and still have friends. It wasn't like, oh, nah, you think you bigger than us now. You think you better than or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing. Young people, listen to me. Don't give up your future for shallow relationships. Just don't do it. It's not worth it.
Now that's some sazon right there. That's some sazon, boy. That's some boy.
Some caliente.
My boy put some sazon,
some caliente,
powder, some habanero. Man, he put it on there. Yes, that's right. I mean, that's the truth right there. I mean, it's crazy. I had it in my notes. So we had a project at even Hill said preach. We had a project at school where they have to pick a job. Right. It was a really great project. Shout out to Ms. Hernandez who helped me with this. They had to pick a job, but the first thing they had to do was they had to list down their strengths and their weaknesses. Right. And so I thought that was great. And then at the very bottom, it was like a little reflection tool where it said, basically pick one of your weaknesses and write down how you intend on working on that weakness to turn it into a strength. Right. Really great little activity there. And the first thing I noticed is that one of my kids put like, oh, one of my weaknesses is kickball because I'm not good at kickball. And I was like, no, shut it down. No, that's not what we're doing.
Think a little deeper, young one. Or how would Yoda say it? Deeper think, young one.
More shallow you are. So my boy said I'm not good at kickball. I was like, I need you to think deeper. I need you to think deep. Like we're not talking kickball here. We're talking like, who are you as a person? And so I saw some super deep answers and then, but for them to be able to look at themselves was good, right? And then the next page, they picked their job. And so what I told them is as I said, pick the job that you want to do now. Don't look at the salary, because it was so fascinating how the students who are always on the wall, who don't get wellness, the students who I'm always having to talk to, the students who are not meeting, my expectations, all of a sudden they're a surgeon making $26,000, however much. And you know what? One of my students came. He said he was like, I need trouble trying to figure out my Social Security, because they have to put down their federal income tax that gets paid per check, and they have to put down the Social Security that gets paid per check.
Y'all going a little bit deep now.
Hey, well, you know what? They're behind, so they need
That's
it.
True. That's true.
They need it.
They need it.
My boy came and he was like, I need to figure out how much. I was like, how much you make a month? He said 26,000. I said, I said per month.
Per month, yeah.
He said, yeah, 26. I said, bring your paper here. Let me see your paper. I said, what's your job? Surgeon. I was like, surgeon of what? Who's surgeon? I looked at him, I was like, who's surgeon are you?
That's wild. I
said, you picking a job just because it makes the money. You've told me you don't like going to school. You know how much school it takes to be a surgeon? I was like, go pick another job. Go pick another job, because, and that's what it is, right? You're looking at this money. Oh, it's great money. Oh, it's great. But sir, it's not just going to come magically. You're going to have to put in the work. If you go back to and that's why I said I love this project, you have to go back to that strengths and weaknesses page, right? What do you need to work on if you want to get there? And these are the questions that, what I'm saying, I feel like a lot of them have not been asked, but it's like I said, they're far behind. So but I just thought that was funny.
And that's the thing. I think that's one of the things, is that we don't talk about enough. Or let me put it this way. When it comes to kids who are, in hard circumstances, first generation, minority, non-traditional students, inner city students, we're behind, but we don't know how close we are to getting ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and that's the thing that we have to really, really be careful about when it comes to talking to students, or as students ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Is it doesn't take a lot of times we think, I'll never get ahead in life. And it's like, if you, especially as a student, and part of it is just legal reasons, right? It's legal reasons. You're under 18, you can't sign contracts, you know what I'm saying? So you can't get an apartment, you can't, there's certain things you can't do under 18. But it's crazy, because the first thing they'll let you do is sign up for all the student loan debt. That's crazy. But that tells you the shackles they want you in. We don't want you in those shackles. That's why we're here doing this, right? Yeah. But the thing is, a lot of times we don't understand that it's like, you're talking 6, 8, 12 months, even 4 or 5 years to like totally drastic life change. And I mean, I can say this from our perspective, and let me speak for myself, but I remember my dad tried years to get a house. And we would go to these open houses. He would drive us around neighborhoods and credit, job, all that stuff. And it's like, again, by the grace of God, I'm 32 on my second one. Or no, I'm not 32. I'm 36 now. But my first house at 23, second house at like 30, right? And all that to say, it's the investments that our parents made, right, that helped us to develop here. But we didn't pick up this woe is me, I can't do anything mentality that is being kind of pushed on people.
Absolutely.
Come from our circumstance, right? And so the thing is, it's like, oh, you can't do anything. And it's like, well, no, check this out. I know this for a fact from me, for when it comes to me and you and the people I hang around, we've probably helped to change more lives than just improve our own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and so why do I say all that? Because a young man, young woman, you're, okay, I might have a 2.5 GPA, or I'm got a C average. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I was that person. You're, oh man, I gotta catch the metro. I gotta, I'm missing the metro. I'm working through high school. I'm struggling just to get, the basics in life. No, I was that person. And so to be able to not only change my life, change lives of people around me, you know what I'm saying? It didn't take 30 years. Now, don't get me wrong. Each of those things adds up to the person you're becoming right? But once you get that character and once you get that purpose, it's almost like a light bulb.
Absolutely.
Because everybody around you be like, man, you different. What's up with you? What's going on with you? Because they can see that purpose on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They can see you moving in it. So I just wanted to say that you're not really that far away from where you're trying to go. And if you were, we couldn't help you anyway. Okay. If you feel like, if you feel like, look, this is gonna take me 30 years. It's like, look, man, bro, we not the right people for you. You gotta go check out another podcast. Go 10X with Grant Cardone or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, man, so true, man. Oh, man. But yeah, we said you need to know the difference. Got to know the difference between that vocation and that avocation. Remember, vocation, the thing that pulls on your heart and mind the most. Avocation, simply put, the thing that you do for money. You may not like it. You may like it, but you may not like it, right? But you got to be able to know that difference. You need to be able to know that difference. All right, so I didn't tell anyone about this, but this is Hunter x Hunter. Festus, have you ever heard of Hunter x Hunter?
Never heard of Hunter x Hunter.
All right.
So, I thought you just came out with a video game. I like what Daniel said. Daniel said you're only 1 to 2 people away from reaching your goal.
That right there is man. That's facts. That's facts. So I wanted to do something a little different today. My students are always telling me, I hit them up one day on the little student platform. I said, hey guys, what TV shows do y'all watch? What cartoons do y'all watch? I just want to get a glimpse as to what you guys are watching right now. Right. And so they did. They sent me a whole list, and some of them I've heard of, some of them I've never heard of. And you know how it's funny, I was just thinking if I was in school and I had a teacher ask me that, and I would have told them some of the shows that I watch, and then I would have told them some of the other ones, and they would have been like, why are you watching that? That was around when I was like in high school.
You was watching Days of Our Lives.
I was I had no choice. I had to watch Sanford and Son and Good Times and those shows.
Shade and Gray. No, sorry. Go ahead.
If people don't know this, there was a guy who was like the General Hospital slap though. I ain't gonna lie, man. A couple episodes. I was a fan. I like All My Children.
All My Children.
Yeah. All My Children, Young and the Restless. But it was just crazy.
We made you lose track of your.
I'm in a nostalgic mode right now.
I know you were talking about your kids and you had they watch a show or.
Oh yeah. So we wanted to watch a show, and I said, you know what? Let's pull up a clip. Let's just pull up a clip and let's just watch it.
Yeah.
And let's just see, because it kind of goes back to what we were talking about like 15 minutes ago. They're so much more impressionable than we were. I feel like our parents were quick whenever we came up with an idea or a concept that was foreign or that would take us off point. Our parents were very quick to go, shut up. No.
Yeah.
These kids, they'll take it and they're like, oh, that's gospel. That's the thing. And so, I see the students borrowing from a lot of these things. And so Hunter x Hunter is an anime. And I just wanted us to watch a couple minutes of it just to see what our kiddos are watching right now. This is called Gone versus Hisoka. I don't know how the rights are on this. We don't own the rights to any of this. This is a YouTube video. We're not making money off of this. This is just us watching. We are citizens of America. What else? Do I need to say anything else? We are citizens of America.
Disclaimer alert.
Disclaimer. And if you have any questions, my name is Festus Olay.
Dang, bro, don't do
that.
Hey, you want to hear something funny, bro? I know you're about to play the video. So
no, go ahead.
I went to this thing the other day, and it was like this exclusive thing called the Gora House, bro. We're gonna have to check that out one day.
Okay.
It's like a house, but it's like a little nightclub thing or whatever.
Oh wow.
And so the dude he's about to run for city council. So he's like, yo, come through. So I come through. So bro, they have a facial recognition machine that basically says who's a member and who's not a member, right?
Oh wow.
So the security up front, like, you have to stop by the machine, but it's not gonna recognize you. Don't worry about it. Go ahead, right? Bro, why did they pull up somebody else's face? It was like the lady went and it was like red, and then I went and it was like
Did you just go right in?
What's
Did you just go right in? He was like, all right, I'm good.
I looked at the dude, and the bouncer was like I'd never been here before. But and that goes to show like all this facial recognition stuff. Well, right now a lot of it's trash, but that's a whole.
Yeah.
Let's watch the video. Let's watch it.
That's awesome. All right, let me put captions on. Oh, unavailable. No worries. We're gonna watch it either way. All right.
I was over getting hyped, bro.
I know. I'm like, dude, I gotta start watching more anime now.
Right? It was not bad. I will say that's pretty cool.
That might be a Dragon Ball Z for a second.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Oh, sorry. This thing is still playing in the background.
Not just watching.
You know, I always feel bad for saying this, but like, I never watched a lot of. I've never watched the full episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my goodness, dang, bro.
So Festus, here's the thing. I feel like you were lucky because you had an older brother to kind of be like, yeah, this what's up.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a thing. I don't know how this works with family dynamics, but as the firstborn period, you're gonna kind of get a lot of the things from your parents. They're in essence not only your parent, but they're like your big brother, big sister.
Big sister too. That's true.
When they're immigrants in a new culture.
Yeah.
It's so you're already like, kind of set back.
Exposure is different. Yeah, the exposure is different. Mm-hmm.
So and that's why I kind of watch like a lot of like just old retro shows, just
with
my parents.
Trust me, I got that too, man. I got that too.
Yeah.
Like All My Children and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You come home from school and it's like, okay, don't change my shows. And it's like, okay. Bro, I used to watch Bonanza so much. It's crazy.
Bonanza, F Troop, a lot of these things.
I used to watch Bonanza.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the anime, you were gonna say something.
No, it's just so I feel like it's just I'm a little behind on it. The one that I did watch that I did enjoy, there's one called Attack on Titan that I watched that I really did enjoy that. But I will say I got a really good friend who always makes fun of me because he says when we were in high school, I was the kid who wore those, you remember them shirts that they would wear?
Oh, with the Dragon Ball Z's?
Yeah, he was like, you look like one of those guys. I was like, first of all, don't do that.
Oh, cap it. They cap it.
You know what I mean? I was like, man, that's cap, man. That's cap. No way.
Oh my goodness.
I was wearing clearance platinum FUBU from Supermart that my dad would let me purchase. That's what I was copping at.
That's the way to go, man. Get that clearance, man.
Get that clearance, man.
It's crazy as we're just talking about all this stuff, man. It's crazy how things come full circle, and there's different trends and there's fads, and so just us talking about vocation and purpose. Don't get caught up in the trends and the fads. For sure. And I say all that because now we're seeing a lot of stuff that was either going out of style or just barely like that was again faddy coming back, like these high-waist jeans the young ladies are wearing. That's all 70s stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Bell bottoms,
tie-dyes coming back, bell bottoms. And it's like it goes to show you why if you operate in your purpose and you don't get sidetracked by all these fads and these things, all that stuff's gonna come back around. You know what I'm saying? It's just like think about it. When we were growing up, Champs, nobody wore Champs, and now Champs is luxury brand.
Oh, Champs and Champion.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wore that. Now it's luxury brand, and so the thing is, the same thing with Converse. You know what I'm saying? At one point, I remember my dad brought us home. He brought us home 2 pair of Converse, right? One for me, one for my brother, and he was like, "Yo, here, I got y'all some shoes." So Converse were like $10, $12. You know what I'm saying? And we're like, Converse, you know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. They were horrible on our feet. They just did not feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Converse is a little bit more comfortable now. But it's just like, dude, like now all this stuff comes back around full circle. And it's like, wait a second. Why was I yelling at my parents? I didn't want that. Or why was I, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why staying in your purpose, staying in your lane, finding your vocation matters, right? Because when that matters the most to you, everything starts to matter. Everything else matters less. And when it matters less, you don't get in strife over dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? You just deal with what's purposeful, man. So
I tell you what, that is the perfect way to end this student mentoring. Beautiful, beautiful point there, Festus. Awesome point. Great discussion on vocation. I got to knock off an anime off my list of stuff that I was going to watch for the kids. So that's good. Got to enjoy that. So yeah, we will see you next week, folks. We're going to continue on talking about vocation. We're going to finish talking about vocation, a vocation, and hopefully start to get into how to find it, how to personally find your purpose, your vocation, your vocation.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is definitely a summer series. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you catching it later on some other channel we put it on or something like that, definitely you want to register. Go to lysstudents.eventbrite.com and you can register so you could be live here with us on the Zoom, and then that way we can answer your questions. We do try to get to the Facebook and stuff like that. Sometimes we're not able to, but yeah, if you need to find any of our social media, just go to www.ladderingyoursuccess.com and yeah, we gonna get in there. We're gonna revolutionize your summer. You're gonna have a phenomenal summer, and yeah, and you're gonna be ready for the fall, so that you could start walking in your vocation, walking in your purpose.
Absolutely. All right, Festus, hit him with the phrase.
So with that being said, listen, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There is no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. I am Festus and Olay. He is Daniel Hill. He is Mr. Olainka Sharonke. And we appreciate you for your time and for rocking with us. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Be blessed.
All right, now, gotta take care now.
Oh, you still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS podcast.